Hey everybody, we've got some breaking news for you today because our buddy Sam has some exciting new spy shots coming at us from Michigan. Now, our buddy Sam is a longtime journalist. He's got a keen eye for details, and he took these pictures, as I understand it, in Michigan, fairly close to the Jeep headquarters. And this may look like any other boring old Jeep, but this could be something really special because if you look closely, it is disguising some aspects of what could be an upcoming Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT or even a Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Let's get right into it. Is this the return of the V8? Now, the Grand Cherokee SRT has a long history. We're talking 20 years of history, starting with the WK, and it is a vehicle that largely confused people when it debuted all those years ago. Sure, Jeep had a history of making some higher performance vehicles, like dating all the way back, the CJ5 with the 304 V8, and then of course the legendary Grand Cherokee 5.9 Limited in the ZJ generation from the 1990s. Now, what Jeep established with the 5.9 Limited is the fact that you could have a four-wheel drive luxury SUV with big power that could take on even some performance cars. And even though back in the day that car only made 245 horsepower, it started a long lineage of performance-oriented Grand Cherokees. Now in the WJ Grand Cherokee, things got pretty calm, but the WK is where things really picked up. We're talking about the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT8, the first generation with the 6.1 liter V8. Now, when that car debuted, it blew people's minds, not only performance cars people, but Jeep people, because of course it wasn't an off-road worthy Grand Cherokee. And a lot of people were skeptical as whether or not it would actually sell. Well, those people were proven wrong pretty quickly, and as the market evolved, we saw the likes of X5Ms, X6Ms, AMG, Mercedes really blow up, and that car has become an icon now, that original 6.1 liter Hemi V8 Grand Cherokee. Then, of course, in the second generation, the displacement jumped up to 6.4. Things got even spicier, and then the ultimate version of that was the Trackhawk. They took the Hellcat 6.2 liter supercharged V8 to 700 horsepower and shoved it under the hood of the Grand Cherokee, and that vehicle was such a legend, and it died too soon, if you ask me. Sure, they sold quite a few of them, but it didn't have that long of a production lifespan. Now, of course, we're in the newest generation of Grand Cherokee. So we've gone from WK2 to the all-new one, which debuted a few years ago, and the SRT model has died. There isn't one available. Now, when the current Grand Cherokee launched, there were a few different trims. There was the base model 3.6 liter Pentastar V6. There was the plug-in hybrid called the 4xe. That was that little turbocharged engine with the hybrid system. And there was a 5.7 liter V8. Well, when Stellantis a while back announced the end of the V8, that also marked the end of the V8 in the Grand Cherokee. That 5.7, even though it wasn't a full-blown 6.4 or 6.2 supercharged, still had a lot of enthusiasts excited because it had the sound and some of that low-end grunt that old-school Jeep people wanted. And now for the past year or two, we've only been able to access the 3.6 liter V6 and, of course, the 4xe Grand Cherokee Jeep. Well, let's dive into these new pictures because this could mean a couple of things. The first thing you might notice with this Grand Cherokee is it doesn't have any special badging on it. It looks like a fairly standard body, and that's of course because this appears to be a prototype pre-production model before the intended production version where they don't want to give away all of the secrets. But there are a couple of things that are giving this away as not being a standard Grand Cherokee. First of all, Michigan manufacturer plates means that it is coming from Jeep or Stellantis corporate offices. That's a good hint. And then second, look at the exhaust system on this. So the standard Grand Cherokee, fairly normal exhaust system. This prototype's got these two massive exits with the mufflers hanging low underneath. Now, this indicates that there could be something special underneath the hood. Now, what could that be? Well, we know that Stellantis has announced a return of V8s. So that could mean a couple of things. It could be a 6.4 liter V8, similar to what we've seen in past Grand Cherokee SRT, similar to what we see in the Ram trucks, for example, or it could be a new take on SRT. You see, a while back, we saw the launch of the Ram RHO and the new turbocharged inline 6, the Hurricane engine that we've seen in the Ram trucks. Now, I've driven this inline 6, and it doesn't have the same guttural sound of the V8s. but it performs. It's a really high performance, high torque engine, over 500 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque. You know, we're talking big numbers, and that's just the beginning. I think Stellantis is sandbagging that engine a little bit with some of its potential. I think it could be well above that with some additional tuning, some additional turbo work, and maybe some head work. It could be seeing a future in this Grand Cherokee. Now, of course, there currently isn't a straight six option in the Grand Cherokee, but it's not that big of a stretch to see them putting that engine in other products beyond the Ram, and of course, beyond its bigger brother, the Wagoneer, because the Wagoneer already has that inline six turbo. It's already a pretty good performer, but it's a luxury car, so maybe they're doing a hyped up version of that. Other reasons we know that this is something special. Obviously, it's got a narrow body look, but look at this wheel tire package. You know, I could be wrong, but I think these are takeoffs from a previous generation SRT product because they stick so far beyond the body. So that's another indicator that maybe this has got some suspension work going on too. And then, of course, the fuel filler has got some funky stuff as well. So my dream would be a return of the V8 because that's what that Grand Cherokee was about. It was a no-nonsense, screw you, loud, family hauling SUV, and that V8 was such a part of the character of the Grand Cherokee. I mean, there were other fast SUVs. We talked about the BMW offerings, the Mercedes offerings, even the Model X if you want to go the other way. But what made the Jeep special, it was just kind of unhinged. It was loud and it was brash and it was just berserk. So I really hope that we see a V8 back underneath the hood of this. But if it is an inline six, I wouldn't fret because I think there's a lot of potential in that Hurricane that they're not fully unleashing. We know that engine's going to make it into the new Dodge Charger, right? And we've seen some of the horsepower specs in that new Dodge Charger with the Hurricane, and it's looking pretty cool. So look, guys, I think we're entering a new era for Stellantis. I think that the brand has realized that they transitioned to EVs in not a very effective manner with the Charger EV, and you could also argue the Fiat 500. And that I think that their customer base doesn't really want that, especially the SRT performance customer base, like what we saw with the Charger. It would be a mistake to make a fully electric performance Grand Cherokee, and looks like Jeep recognizes that. Now, this could be a very expensive vehicle. One of the biggest complaints I have with the current one is it's very easy to get them into the $70,000+ territory. So this could be a $100,000 Jeep if it's got the right engine underneath the hood. But it is cool that Stellantis is not abandoning the enthusiasts. We know they've been, having some difficulties with some of their management and some of their product lines, especially with Chrysler. But I'm glad that the enthusiasts are still there, right? They're still coming up with cool stuff, like what could be this future SRT Grand Cherokee. So I got my fingers crossed. They've done V8 powered Jeeps in the past, like with the Wrangler, right? 392. So I think it's time we see a 392 in the new Grand Cherokee because it's an attractive body style, and with some suspension mods, some body mods, maybe some interior tweaks, this thing could be really cool. Folks, I would love to hear your input on this matter. Would you guys consider buying a revival of the new SRT Grand Cherokee, and would you be happy with an inline six, or does it have to have the good old-fashioned V8? I read all your comments, so be sure to drop one below, but just wanted to break you this news. I think it's pretty cool. I don't think a lot of other people are going to have it. Big thank you to Sam for sending us these images. You be sure to check him out. I'll link to him below because he's a really great guy, and thank you so much for watching this quick behind-the-scenes video. We got a big Jeep following. I'm a big Jeep guy, so couldn't let this one go unturned. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.